This is the next game on the shop out list. We just picked this one up last week. It's Williams Time Warp. Playfield was pretty grungy and dirty, but actually doesn't look too bad. There's some wear spots, look like someone tried to touch up at one point in time. But I think this one's going to clean up and be real nice. Cabinet looks good. This should be a fun one to restore. Has these banana flippers, which are crazy. I haven't really played this one before with the banana flippers, so it'll be fun to shop it out and see how it goes. Here's the underneath of the Williams cab here. I love working on Williams games. Like, look at the prop rod system is good. You can pull the whole playfield back real nice and easy. Everything is real easy to get to. I mean, this is going to be a fun shop out for sure. The bottom's pretty nasty. Normally what I start with right here is I'm going to grab the shop vac, vacuum this all up, and I'm going to get in here with a rag and some bucket of water, some simple green, wipe down the entire cabinet because it's just grungy. It has that musty smell like it's been in the basement for 20 years. Just got this Time Warp Playfield stripped down most of the way. And at this point, you got to decide how far down the rabbit hole you really want to go. With that being said is the pop bumpers we're addressing right now. And I'll admit sometimes I will not rebuild all the pop bumpers. If you're doing a full shop out, you really should rebuild all the pop bumpers. But if it's like a newer game and the pops look good, sometimes I'll just kind of clean around them the best I can, go underneath, kind of clean everything up, make adjustments if it needs, but I won't rebuild them. Now, when you're doing an older game like this, you're pretty much forced to rebuild them. And here's part of the reasons why. One is these lamp sockets. So this is what makes rebuilding the pop bumper such a pain, is you got to take it apart from the top and the bottom, and these old lamp sockets are soldered in directly. So it's such a pain to go under there. You got to desolder them, and then they don't want to pull back up through, so you end up snipping the leads, pretty much destroy it. But at this point, if you're rebuilding the pop bumpers, you want to replace this anyway. And you can see they're like really weak down here. And you can see the new one, like how this is bent and the new one is fresh and tight. So what happens over time, you know, your pop bumpers will be vibrating around and your lights will start flickering. And it's because it's not making a good contact point here at the bottom, and it's corroded, it's actually worn out. And the new ones are nice and fresh. So this is a good part, a good habit to get into, is just replacing all these. Now you're looking at the pop bumper skirts. And in older games, a lot of times you'll see these actually crack and they'll be worn down on the outside, so you'd want to replace these anyway. But the other part of it is actually the little tip at the bottom. This gets actually worn down, like this one's actually worn down pretty good. I don't know if you could see it. And what happens is it doesn't give enough travel in there, and it doesn't make them as responsive. So replacing these is just better for the overall pop bumper health. And then while you're under there, you want to go ahead and put fresh coil sleeves in there. You want to clean up your pistons, polish those up. We're going to go ahead and remove this pop bumper. So we're going to take out these 3 screws, or 3 nuts I should say. This part just comes right off, real easy. And now this is the big pain in the butt part. So in order to remove the top part of the pop bumper, you have to desolder right here and here. Now you got to make sure that you get the, when you solder the new one back on, that you get the wire correct. One of these actually is running to a diode, and the other one is not. So just pay attention to what side is running to the diode, and you may want to mark it. The other thing that I'm going to do here is actually I'm labeling all the pop bumper coils, because I'm going to have a bunch of coils just hanging here. I want to make sure that I don't mess up and put them back in the wrong spot. So this one I labeled 1, this one I'm going to label 2, and I'm going to go ahead and label the coil itself 2. And now we got to take this guy apart. So here we're going to remove these 2 screws. Then you're going to have on the bottom here, these parts, that's got to come out. There's a spring here you don't want to lose. You have your stop here and your plunger, and this part just comes right apart like that. Then the next step is replacing your coil sleeve. This mylar going around the skirt, somebody had already cut some of it because it was peeling, and they did a not so good job pulling it off, and sometimes it just happens, and it took some of the paint, and they did a very bad touch-up job here, and the rest of the mylar was starting to kind of peel too. So at this point, you got to take a heat gun and peel it off, clean off all this glue. It's a big pain. And the ones that the mylar is still good and intact, I'm going to leave this alone because you are going to lose some of the artwork. So if it's not bad, you're better off just leaving it alone. But up here, here's another area where they had cut a portion of it that was peeling, and there is a spot right here that's already starting to peel. So I'm forced to pull this one off and try and take the heat gun and salvage as much of this paint as I can. This might not be the best angle here for the camera, but I'm going to try to demonstrate and put on film how I'm going to attempt to remove this mylar without destroying it. I'm going to use this heat gun. I like to keep the heat gun moving. I don't want to put too much heat in one spot. There we have it. We actually got it off with, looks like very minimal damage there. Now that's actually the easy part. The hard part is now cleaning up all that glue residue. This is my process that I do. Everybody does it a little bit different, but this is how I found it works the best for me. I've already cleaned the playfield. I usually use alcohol and cotton swabs. I'll start with just a rag. If I have to, I'll get in with some magic eraser in certain areas. So that part's already been done. So next step, I like to use this Novus 2, and I put just a little dab on a cotton ball, and I just pick one small area at a time, and I polish it in there. Little circles. Then I'll flip it over to the dry side, and I'll kind of buff that out. You can see immediately how much it shines it up. It kind of smooths out the playfield. The Novus 2 is actually a polish, so there's a little bit of grit in there. So if there's imperfections in the playfield, I feel like it actually will smooth it out a little bit and make the ball travel better. And this is my prep before I start waxing. Alright, so I just got done doing a little bit of minor touch-up paint on this playfield. I will say I don't like doing touch-up paint on a playfield. I'm not that good at it. I only do it if like there's really kind of like a bad section where there's just paint completely missing, segments missing, and there's not a lot of it to do. Like in this case, there were some areas where the mylar had to come off around the pop bumpers and it took off some of the paint. So I'm going to explain how I do it. There's a lot of better people out there than me. This is just how I do it, and I've had good results with it. So I use this airbrush paint right here, and this is something that I just kind of read online that a lot of the good guys were using. They recommended it, and I think it works really well, actually. This airbrush paint has very good pigment to it. It's easy to mix. I grabbed one of these cheap plastic palette mixers, and pretty much I just went out and get all the primary colors. I like the opaque, and with the primary colors plus black and white, you can really get pretty close to a shade of what you need here. So I will mix up what I need. I get very nice quality paint brushes, and I will just do real small, light, thin coat. I will make sure that it dries and I like the way it looks, and if it looks good, then I hit it with a heat gun. So if you don't like it, you can actually take alcohol and a little bit of cotton or like a Q-tip, and you can rub that out and you can actually remove it. That's the nice thing about this, is you can take it off. Now, if you like how it looks, then you take the heat gun to it and it sits up pretty good. Then from there, I do my first coat of wax. So with the first coat of wax, I don't even really count it as a coat. All I'm really doing, especially where the art touch-up is, putting it on very thin, and I wipe it right back off. So I'm not sitting there like trying to scrub it hardcore. I'm just trying to get a very ultra-thin layer on the whole playfield, and then I kind of buff it out. So that's the stage I'm at right now. Now from here, now I'm going to get really hardcore with the waxing. So the wax of my choice is this Colonite insulator wax. My buddy turned me onto this, and I've been using it ever since. It's a really good wax. It's durable, and that's what I like about it. It's durability. Now they make it in two different forms. This is kind of more of the liquid wax, and you definitely want to shake this up really good before you use it. And they also make it more like a paste wax. I actually prefer the paste wax, but I ran out, and locally this is all I could get right now, so I'm using it for today. But it's not bad, but I just kind of prefer the paste wax. I feel like it's a little thicker, a little heavier. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually do about 5 coats of this. Normally I do about 3 coats, not including the first one, so technically it would be 4. But I'm going to do some extra coats of this. So with this, I like to use these little cotton balls. I don't know, it just makes a very good applicator. And I usually take this wax, and I'll use one of my little palette things, and I put a little bit in here. And that gives me something to work with here. So then from here, I can just dab the cotton ball on there, and I'll pick one section to start. I usually either start at the bottom and work up, or the top and work down. And I will start and just kind of, I'll start down here because it's easy to see. And real gently, I'm just going to apply the wax first. Pretty much designate a section here. Get a nice even coat on there, and then I take and little circles, and I basically just work it in, like nice and hard. I'm really scrubbing it, just kind of like you're buffing it in there. You're trying to work it in all the cracks. These little circles. I mean, it's hard on the shoulder and your fingertips, but it's got to be done. And these little circles, and I just rub it in. Like this. Then once I have it worked in really good, I kind of flip it over and use the dry side, and I kind of just lightly buff it out. I'm not really trying to remove the wax. I'm just trying to get the excess off, really, and make sure it's kind of smooth. So I'm not pushing real hard now. I'm just kind of lightly going over this and removing some of the excess wax. And I'm going to do that throughout the whole playfield. And it's still going to have a decent amount of wax on there that I didn't pull off. I'm just lightly doing this. The idea is I want to build up layers of wax. And this is protecting the playfield. So with this one, I'm going to start at the bottom, work all the way up, and then I'm just going to let it dry for about 5, maybe 10 minutes. Then I'm going to come back with some dry cotton balls and hardcore just buff it out. Almost like you were taking a buffer to a car, but I'm doing it all by hand. Alright, I got the playfield all waxed up, cleaned up. All the plastics are cleaned and ready to go back on. So now I'm starting to install the rubbers. I've already done some of them, but I did want to make a quick note that when you're putting the rubbers on somewhere like your ball kicker assemblies and you have these leaf switches here, make sure you check and adjust all those switches. I just finished shopping out this Williams pinball machine, and what a journey it's been. This time warp has been a nightmare worth of problems that I had to deal with. We had some lamp matrix issues, a lot of pop bumpers on here. We had to pull all these off completely. We had to remove some mylar, repair some paint damage on here, and we did our standard, cleaning and 4 coats of wax on the playfield. We put all new rubbers on, of course. These drop targets, these had to be repaired and maintenance. I did a whole other video on that, so I'll post a link in the description below. I didn't want this video to be too long. I also did another video on this back glass on how I had to do some tips and tricks to try and make this look better, because this has some severe flaking going on. But we put some strategic LEDs and did some other stuff here. The whole playfield got LEDs, and really the only issue we had with ghosting was this lower triangle down here, these green lights. So I put non-ghosting LEDs in there. The rest of them are just standard 2 SMDs from Comet Pinball. Those are great bulbs. I always start with those because the non-ghosting bulbs are quite a bit more expensive. So, and then if I have issues, then we put the non-ghosting bulbs in. So that was the only area we really had to do it in. We rebuilt the banana flippers. I love these banana flippers. I think it's such a cool, unique component to this game. I'm also doing another whole gameplay video, so keep an eye out for that. I'll post a link in the description below once that video hits online. And other than that, this has just been a great game. It's been a fun experience rebuilding. We're going to send it down to the arcade next week, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to our channel.